What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's RealTutsGML here, back with another Java game development tutorial. And today, what we're going to be looking at is creating an actual spawn system for our game. So if I go ahead and run the game now, what have we got so far? Basically, we've gotten all of the back-end stuff working, right? We've gotten multiple game objects in our game that are working. We've got collision down. We've got player movement. We've got a lot of fun stuff that we've created. Now let's bring it into the actual aspect of a game. So what we're going to do today is create a simple, we're going to add to the heads up display, and we're going to create a spawning system. So, you know, level 1, obviously maybe you'll start with only one enemy in the room, right? Level 2, now you're going to have 2 enemies. Level 3, 3 enemies, and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure if in this tutorial today we're going to be going over making different types of enemies, but maybe we will. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see where the time's at. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin. One thing I wanted to do quickly in the heads up display, and I just thought this was kind of fun and an add-on to our last tutorial, was we can go ahead and create our health bar to transition from green to red as you go down in health, which I thought was kind of cool. So I'll go ahead and do that now and just kind of show you guys what that's going to be like, right? So to do that, we're going to create a new private variable. I'm just going to call it green value, and this is going to equal 255, because if you know, RGB values, red, green, blue values, go from 0, which is basically black, to 255, which is you know, the full array of its color, right? So down here, when we actually create our health bar, what we can do is we can say g.setColor. We can create a new color instance, and in here it takes 3 parameters: your red value, your green value, and your blue value. So we could say, you know, so for our red value, we're going to create it at 75, so that it's going to be a constant 75 value for our red. Our green, we're going to put in our variable green value, and we don't want any blue. So if we go ahead and ran the game right now, we still get that green color there. Okay, now say for example we set our green value to 0, we're going to get a red color, as you can see, and that's what we're going to kind of transition the color into our health bar. So if we start this off at 255, and in our tick method, first off we can clamp our green value, so green value at 0 and our max 255, because we don't want it to go any lower, because this is the color parameter, this is the array of what we can have it be. And then we can set our green value to equal our health multiplied by 2. And all that's going to do is, so if we go ahead and run the game, and I try and get hit here, as you can see, whoa, now we're slowly transitioning down into that red, and then we're dead. So I don't know, it's something cool that you can do, and it's not a lot of code at all, and I think it brings a certain value, some more production value into the game. Alright, so now let's go ahead and go with our spawning system. So we can do this a lot of different ways. First off, what I'm going to do is in our game class, I'm going to go ahead and delete all of these basic enemies we created. And if we run it now, we just have no enemies in the game and we can move freely. So we can do, you can do this anywhere you'd like. You can create a new class for it. You can basically do anything. What I'm going to do is, just for organizational purposes, and I recommend this as well, I'm going to go ahead and create a new class. And I'm going to call this spawner, or spawn. Alright, and in here we're going to need our handler class. So private, or I'm sorry, let's create the constructor. So public spawn, and have the handler parameter, and this dot handler equals handler, because we're going to need to spawn these. And then we're going to have a tick method, and then we can also probably implement our heads up display within this as well, because I don't really like we can make the variable static and not have to import our heads-up display. But again, static variables can be kind of iffy, and so it's better to just make our variables in here private and just import it right into our spawn class. So in our game, let's go ahead and just create an instance of our spawn class so it actually exists now. Well, it exists, but have it be present in our game. So down here, right under our heads-up display, we're going to say spawner equals new spawner, and in here we need to give our handler and our heads-up display, or new spawn. There we go. So again, like I was saying before, code reads top to bottom. So even a simple mistake of putting the spawner above our heads-up display, we're gonna get an error because we're using this heads-up display before it's actually created. So make sure if you're getting like a null pointer or something like that, always look over your code and make sure everything's in order of what it should be doing. Okay? So let's go ahead and go to our spawn class. Now we can do this a couple of different ways, and you can kind of pick what you want for your game. In this one, to get to the next level, right? We can either do it as like a score system, or we can have like a timer going on, and say you last 10 seconds and then it goes to the next level, another 10 seconds, level 3, level 4, level 5. Or we can have it have a score in your game, so the score is constantly going up, and once that score reaches like a certain value, then it goes to the next level. And I think that's what we're gonna do. That's what I had in the original Wave game, so I think that's what we're gonna do in this game. I think it's the easiest too. So if we go ahead and go to our heads-up display, and we create a new variable, and we call it score, we'll equal that to 0, and our level, and we'll equal that to 1, and we can draw out our level, or score and level. Now, in future episodes, I'm going to show you how to import your own font, so you can actually, you don't have to use something within the operating system, whatever it's on. We can actually import our own font and have a little bit more customization towards the game. But for now, let's just go ahead and draw the string out. So draw a string, and here I'm just going to say score, and then we can plus our score variable, and our x value, we'll just have it like 10, and let's say 48. We can just try that. And then we can copy this, and instead of score we have level, and here we put level, and let's try doing like 64. So let's run that, and it's kind of, we need to bring it up a little bit more, so 64, and let's see, we'll do 80. Let's run that. Okay, so it looks good. Let's put that at 15 and 15, just so everything is even. So there we go. So we have our score at 0 and our level at 1. So just like that, we've got a little more to the heads-up display, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have this score constantly be moving up. And I guess that's really the only way we can do it for the game. Maybe in future episodes we can create like coins or something that spawn in, that spawn in with like a cool particle effect, and you can gather that and it will give you like plus 1,000 points or something. And so those will randomly spawn. And that will force the player to move and try and get it, and go towards a space that they wouldn't normally go at, which would make it challenging, or more challenging, right? So with that, all we can do is just say score plus plus. And right away, just by doing that, as you can see, now our score is going up. And so now we can say, okay, the score hits, let's say 1,000, level 2. Score hits 2,000, level 3, etc., etc., right? So in our spawn, or you know what, actually, how do I want to go about doing this, right? So let's go into the heads up display and let's just create a getter and setter for our score. So public void score, this dot score equals score, and you should be familiar with this by now, getters and setters. And public int get score return score. Okay, so in our spawn, what we can do is we can let's create another variable within our spawn class, private int score keep, and we'll equal that to 0. And we're going to increase our score keep the same we do with our actual score. And in our game class, let's go ahead and in our tick method, spawner.tick. And the reason we're going to do this is because every time score keeps get to 1,000, so we're going to say if score keep is greater than equal to 1,000, score keep equals 0. And in our heads up display, let's go ahead and put a public int get level return level, and public void set level int level, this dot level equals level. So in here we can say if score keep is greater than equal to 1,000, score keep equals 0, and heads up display dot set level HUD dot get level plus 1. So we run that. So now every time our score gets to 1,000, our level is going to move up 1. So let's wait for it to get to 1,000. Probably should have put the numerical value a little bit lower, but that's okay. And now we're on level 2. And this is now going to go on infinitely. So if we set this to say 100, every time our score gets to 100, works the same way. We're going to plus a level. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and this will literally go on forever, or until we get to the integer value, the max integer value, right? So there you go. So now that we've gotten that, we just need to do some basic stuff. So here we can say we can create a switch statement or an if else statement. So we can say if HUD.getLevel equals 2, then what we're going to do is we can say handler.addObject new basic enemy. And what were the parameters here at, just a random position, so we can say private random r equals new random. So r.nextInt game.width r.nextInt, and this is all stuff we've done before. Game.height, our ID, so our ID basic enemy, and our handler. And this is only going to run through it once. So we can basically just copy this, and in our game, since we want the first level to actually have an enemy, then we can go ahead and just add one to begin with. So if our level equals 2, it's going to add an enemy. So if we go back to 1,000 and we run the game, or let's do 500. All right, we run the game. So now we've got one enemy to begin with, right? And we wait till 500, and boom, another enemy spawns, just like that. Now when we get to level 3, nothing else is going to spawn, and this is where we can actually control the level. We can control everything about our game now. So if we wanted every single 500 points another enemy is going to spawn, we can do that by simply commenting this out and just putting this in there. So if we go ahead and run that, every time we hit 500, let's do 100 just to see what that's like. All right, so we got one. So we're level 2, level 3, level 4, and it's gonna keep adding enemies. And I guess you could say this is a game. I mean, it is getting challenging, but it's a little dull. You know, we still wanna create certain, you know, different enemies, different, all of that stuff. You know, different types and coins and all that cool stuff. So, I mean, we're at level 20 now. So there's 20 enemies in our game, and right now the game is unplayable. So there we go. But that's going to be the basics on a spawning system. It's very simple, and I think this is a very good way to go ahead and do something like this. So we can, you know, if we wanted to, we can say, you know, if level equals 2, and then we can say else if level equals 3. Now let's create 2 enemies, right? So if we go and run that, let's do 250. So we've got level 1 here. Level 2, we didn't get any. Why didn't we get any? Most likely because the game width here in game height, it spawned right on the border, and it may have been going in a weird direction. So if we could just do like game height minus 100 or minus 50, that should solve it. So minus 50, there we go. Let me just copy this real quick, and that should solve that. So let's go ahead and run it again. So we've got level 1 here, we've got our enemy. Boom, level 2, now we've got 2 enemies. And when it hits 500, whoa, now we've got 2 enemies spawning. So again, we can control the entire game at this point. The entire game is now under our control. And so now when we go into creating new enemies, we can, instead of creating this basic enemy, we can create some sort of super cool, quick, you know what, let's do that real quick. You want to do that real quick? Let's do it real quick. So let's create one more enemy. We've got time, so let's go ahead and go to the basic enemy. Let's duplicate it just by right clicking and hitting is there a duplicate button? I thought there was a duplicate button. Apparently there's not. So I'm just gonna copy everything here, create a new class, and I'm gonna name it fast enemy. And I'm just gonna paste everything in here, and we can let Eclipse rename everything for us. And instead of our velocity x equaling 5, we can equal it to 2, and we can have our velocity x equal 8 or 9. And instead of it being red, we can have it be color dot. I'm not sure. Do they have? Let's see. What color do we want it to be? Cyan. Let's have it be cyan. And our trail, we'll make it cyan. And just like that, we've got a new enemy. Just like that. We don't need to do anything else as far as our player is concerned. Oh, right here we can say or temp object dot get id dot fast enemy, which we haven't created yet. I mean, technically we can still call it a basic enemy, but just for this, let's not. And in our ID, we'll create the new. We'll create the new ID for it. And just like that, we've got something made here. So let's go to our game, or our spawn, I'm sorry. And let's make the first 2 levels spawn, you know, just a normal enemy. But now level 4 comes around, and we spawn a fast enemy. And handler id.fastEnemy, and boom, just like that. So let's go ahead and run the game. So level 1, watch, this is gonna totally not work. So level 1, we've got basic enemy. Level 2, we've got 2 enemies now. Level 3, we've got 3 enemies. And coming level 4, boom! Alright, now we have a different style of enemy just like that. And the game is actually looking really cool now. So, go leave a like, go and subscribe. Let's go ahead and try for 100 likes. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And I will, of course, see you guys next time. Hopefully a little bit sooner than 1 month. A couple things happened. My PC went for the worst. And had to deal with that. So, go leave a like, go and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Peace.